I know. The stream's not scheduled to start for a couple minutes yet, so I won't do anything too important. What I do want to do is just take a couple minutes and look at the work that was done this morning. And, whoops, get ready to rock and roll here, folks. So this shot, got this shot done. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Now the mother needs some ink. She needs some ink and shadows. There's a good little bit of work to do there. And then let's see. Okay, so we'll be switching back to the mom, and we cut to a close-up. So we're going to be able to reuse the assets. Probably, yeah, I mean, actually. Okay. It's really a lot of back and forth. Now this is going to be the part that's going to be challenging. Yeah, because she gets mad and stomps out of the room. So when that happens, that's going to be a real challenge. I got to sneeze. Sorry, guys. Apologize for that. Even us world-famous animators sneeze from time to time. Yes, we do. Okay, that's interesting. What the heck is that about? We've got a... Why do we have a fade? Oh, I know why. Sorry. That's a dumb mistake. Okay, I just have a... Because these storyboard images are transparent, I have just a white strip underneath them. There's a couple places where I broke it so I could fade to black instead of have white behind it, and okay. Looks like the path forward is pretty clear. Okay, it is 240, and to those of you who prefer a little forewarning, I apologize for that. Going forward, I'll make an effort to plan a little better. So don't be hating on me for that. I think what I'll do is, before I get into too many topics of conversation, which should be kind of fun and interesting, since when I was on break, I watched a little bit of Anastasia, and I watched a little bit of Beauty and the Beast, the original, obviously, and was really, really surprised at what I noticed. But I won't talk about it yet. Okay, what is this? Okay, this is ink. We better start labeling our layers. This is probably her whole bod. Actually, it's her whole bod, so let's call this Car. K-A-R for Kalyana. This is gonna be a shadows. Shadows. We gotta smack some shadows in there, people. Gotta have some shadow. Okay. Let's go back here. And basically, I guess what I'll do is put a keyframe on the shadow layer, because we're definitely gonna need some. And some outlines. Okay, that cell, that frame is actually looking pretty good. A little sloppy on the hands, I would say. So I'm just going to go to the ink and try to fix this up just a bit. Doesn't require too much. Doesn't have to be photographic or anything. Just not too sloppy. Okay. Okay. So, yep, I would say we want to have this ink line underneath. So that will be fine for her. I would say let's go in here. Yeah, and then strategically speaking, we really need to get some, let's see, we need to get some necklace action going on. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. I was getting there confused for a second. Why is it like disappearing? It's just sliding underneath the shadow, that's all. We'll do that. Then on the ink layer, we'll just go ahead and... Looks like I used black on the ink, so... Whoops. B key. This is very tiny on the screen. So, if you're out there and you got something to say, you know, identify yourself, make yourself known. Let us know what you... I'm always curious to know actually why people are here. Like, what are you here for? What do you want to do? What do you want to learn? Blah, blah, blah. That would be fun and interesting. For here, I need to go to the... Actually, underneath to the... Or if you don't want to identify yourself and or... I'm not gonna worry about putting a string between the baubles. I don't think that's a big deal. But okay, looks to me. So the question is, and the question is always, how does this frame look? There is one thing I would like to actually mod on her characterization, since she is one nasty looking lady. I want to give her a little bit more evil eye. I think I'll take that. Okay, let's go back one frame. Boom. Okay, this is going to take some work. I'm going to have to do some actually fairly serious animation work. And in fact, I have to confess that what I can see needs to be done if this is going to come up to scratch leads me to say, you know what, probably, unsurprisingly actually, cutting her into pieces and doing the animation that way probably was a mistake. I think it would have been better if I would have simply just drawn the poses and done it kind of the more conventional way. Just saying. So, okay, and here, yeah, we're on the ink layer, so I'm going to just go through, put in some keys, and that forces everything to sort of be compliant with where I'm headed here. Now, if, to be fair, we're not going to really see what happens on the first frame, but it is the first frame. And let me see. Okay, so most of the ink is baked in. I'll tell you what, let me back off on this for just a second and think about this. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually, I'm baking it in. I'm baking the ink in. Yep, and that bakes it into the... That works because the final ink cell there just continued on over top of all the rest. So it looks to me like her bosom right here on this frame. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove that for now. I might wind up putting it... Okay, hold on. Let's take the shadow out so we sample the right color. I'm going to take this out for now so that we're just not having this one cell deviation from the rest of the sequence. So now we're good. All right. You know, the other thing that I probably should have considered is the color of the ink, but truthfully, in this case, because she is in a kind of a darkened room, I think we're good with whoops, using black for our ink, so it's fine. It's all good. And I'll try to have a light hand here as I go forward. But yeah, I initially wasn't sure if I even needed to ink this, but the more I'm doing and liking what I'm seeing, the more I'm thinking, you know what? It just looks better, so let's just do it up. And but the reason I baked it together, actually, if the truth be known, is so that I could go like this. I wanted to look at this. So what I was starting to say earlier is that you're not going to really think about this how clunky this is like that, because it's only there for one frame and you enter the thing and boom, you're there, right? So let's just do a little bit of a fix up there. This can be a simple shape like that as long as there's something there, and I would be inclined to think let's just take her arm out of that pose. But then more importantly, what I wanted to do, this is where it gets a little risky. I'm just gonna not even be too picky about what I'm grabbing, but I'm gonna go like this. Okay, now I need to so as you can see, this is going to give me some things I have to fix. I think what I'll do here is just a little bit more. Just a little bit like that. Yep. So that's what we're doing. And then, okay, so I have to patch it up. Whoop-de-doo. No big deal. It's easy. It's a bit of work. G key. So let's just start here. Start patching this stuff up, and it's all good. This is a little questionable. Yep, not going to worry about secondary animation on the clothing. You know, that's where we're starting to, you know, sort of exceed our budget in terms of what's worth doing. So I'm just going to close that up and then put in a little bit of shadow. And then we'll come back and boom. Keep on a-going. Keep on a-going. Like so. Get her chin back in there. Here I would say, again, this is something you're probably not ever going to notice, but we'll just chisel that out a little bit. Chisel it out. Chisel it out. Chisel it out. A little bit. Little indication. So this is one of the things I've sort of been learning. You sort of develop a sensitivity to what actually matters. Truth is, it might be the most important thing. Knowing what matters. What doesn't require tons of attention and what does. So, what did you do today, oh beloved guest on my YouTube channel? Okay, let me just yeah, that's obviously a pretty clunky transition, but I mean, it's okay. Make it work, because again, if everything's in really fast motion, I'm just going to keep toggling back and forth between frames, and we're basically just going to build this thing up. We're just going to build it up bit by bit. That's fine. Back there. Probably a little bit of close that. Okay. Okay, the shadow's pretty generous there, obviously. Whoops. Okay. Probably inappropriately so. So yeah, this is definitely a pretty crazy keyframe. But trust me, we're going to make this work. As long as the broad motion is okay and happening, then everything will work. This is what you're really going to see. I may even actually put a motion blur on a couple of these. We'll see. We'll see. We will see what we wind up doing. Okay. So yeah, I'm keenly aware that this area right here is a little bit winky. And I insist that it's absolutely just not going to matter. It's not going to matter, folks. Okay. We're in the zone. Okay, let's work backwards and deal with each of these fun little baubles one at a time. So I'm going to turn the shadows off. I guess that'll be my first comment about Beauty and the Beast. Is it really surprised me so let's just kind of work back. So it looks like her necklace is going to stretch a bit. That's okay. That's okay. Alright, and then we got two little purpley ones. Unfortunately, you can see that problem, so that's actually going to have to be fixed with a patch. In other words, what I'll do is I'll take this little segment, this little piece right here, cut it out, and paste it back in another layer so that it actually runs underneath the whole rest of the sequence. Stuff like that's actually not too hard to fix. Smack it in the middle and kind of hope for the best. So yeah, it's been quite a productive day. So we got 5 viewers. Well, I'll show you guys what I've done so far today in case you weren't here earlier, because I streamed for 5 hours earlier. So I'll just play it. It's about 10 seconds. So we got this shot of Tianara finding out that she's being married off. And her mother's, isn't it wonderful? No! So that brings us to this point, and so basically I did, well, obviously all the animation and then the background paintings too was part of the work I did this morning. Oh, nothing but fun. Really, quite a lot of fun, actually, in all seriousness. So, but the mother, I was going to maybe not do ink lines on her. Wasn't sure if they were really going to be needed, but without a doubt. So don't be freaked out by the noise or there's a lot of messiness here. Believe me, it is not going to matter. You're not going to see any of this. This stuff all zips by on the screen really fast. But what you will notice is the lack of contrast, and then when here you have that contrast, that's going to jump out like a sore thumb. So that's what we want to be careful about. And that's what I was saying is, you have to know what's important. So if you guys want my opinion, I will, thank you, Dizzy, I appreciate that. If you guys want my opinion of what I felt like I learned while I was on break from watching both Anastasia and Beauty and the Beast, I watched about 10 minutes of each. Then I will share that because it was actually a bit of a revelation. I know that's a pretty strong statement, but it really was. I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing. TNR shot turned out great. Thank you, sir. Well, this is the thing. It is absolutely my intent. I've crossed a threshold. I've actually crossed a threshold today. There was a point with this show where I kind of transitioned from, I think this is going to work. I think this is going to be okay. I really wasn't sure for a long time, and it's been a while ago, but it was basically when I took the rough stuff that I had done and I cut it into the timeline in Vegas and just saw it play as a story, play out as a show. And that was when I had my first revelation where and I went through the same thing as a filmmaker where there was a point I crossed and it really made me hungry. Like, it's like, I am going to get this. I am going to succeed in this thing, right? And it usually just has to do with me judging myself and realizing, you know what, this is actually looking pretty good. I mean, I think I actually can do this, you know? So I crossed the point where I was pretty sure this was going to work, probably well over a month or so ago. But today when I saw the shot of Tianara, you know, it's like you get in the zone and you don't think about it. I mean, you don't really even think about what you're doing, and then you go back and you come back, you know, 2 hours later and look at what you did, and I'm having like a okay, wow moment, you know, where I'm going, you know, you know, I'm actually thinking this is gonna really, it's not too bad, you know, and I say that because I am really, really critical of my own work, you know. If it sucks, I'm gonna be the first guy to say it sucks, and I'm going to strive to be able to tell you why it sucks so that I can learn from my mistakes, you know. Doing these 2 shots today and just the way they sit together with these background paintings that I did. I still look at this background painting. I'm like, did I actually paint that? It's a little, I'm not trying to brag. I mean, I'm a little freaked out here. But, you know, looking at Tianara's characterization, I just said, you know, not only is this going to work, but it's actually going to be good. I know it's going to be good. And the bad news is, it also means that there's a bunch of shots earlier that I did before I sort of got my skill and my standards up to where they are now, I think, that I'm going to have to redo. And you know what? That's okay. I'll redo them. Because, like I said, I crossed a threshold where I said, you know, we're going to not only get this right, but this is going to be good. I'm really actually hoping, listening to, you know, Alan Menken's score. I've always loved Alan's work on the Disney stuff, and if I can come anywhere close to his standard, to what he did on that score on Beauty and the Beast, and I'm pretty sure I can. I mean, when I go back, when I did the score for my last film, I really was pretty happy with it. I mean, you guys can, if you're interested, you can. It's right here on YouTube, because my distributor has a YouTube channel where all their films are available. So, and you know, you might disagree. You might go, oh, well, that score really sucked. Perfectly valid opinion. Well, thank you, Max. I really appreciate that. I'm just really trying to learn every day. Well, that's why watching a little bit of Anastasia and Beauty and the Beast was such a revelation. I'd really love to actually just pull up the Disney Channel or the Disney, you know, Disney Plus on here and go through it. But I think if I did that, I would probably get slammed with a copyright, you know, copyright claim. So, but but I'll share what I basically observed. Okay? Is that all right? Everybody good with that? Number 1. If you're not good with it, you can just speak up, but otherwise I'll assume you really don't care and it's all good. Number 1, and again, I'm literally, I hate to say it because I know this sounds cocky, but I'm actually comparing it to the animation I did today on Tianara. Okay? I'm just being honest here. And it was the first time I did not expect this. I truly did not expect it when I went and watched these shows. But what I realized is that the characterization, which, by the way, through most of the work I've done, has not been at the level I'm achieving now. I know it hasn't been. I'm very aware of that. And when I compared it to some of the characterization in Beauty and the Beast, I was surprised how well what I'm doing compared with what I was seeing in the show. And it was really weird. So you say, well, wait a second. Okay, this is a Disney film, and it's a really, really entertaining, really good film. So how can this be true? And I realized when I was watching Beauty and the Beast, I'm going, you guys, especially if you guys are into animation, I'm telling you, it is so not about the animation. It's not even about the characterization, actually. Although you do kind of need to get your character designs right. But what it's really about, I hate to tell you this, is I think it's mostly about the script and the story and just the way it plays. It's about the editing, the way it, because Beauty and the Beast is so dense. If you watch the first 15 minutes of that cartoon, you're going to be busting out laughing at a lot of really little things that are going on with the secondary characters. And again, I was shocked at how really cheeseball and cartoony a lot of the secondary characters were. I don't remember it that way. I go back and I'm watching, I'm going, these are really simplistic cheeseball character designs. Some of them are really, really, really good. I think LeFou is awesome. LeFou and Belle's father. If I can be so critical, I actually think I think that Belle herself, James Baxter, could have done a better job actually with her characterization. There's a lot of poses and things where it's like, I don't know, Jimmy. I'm just not quite sure you hit the mark on that one. And I saw that way more than I expected to. So that was just an observation. Obviously, he's a really great animator, but it's just like her characterization felt a little stiff at times. So, again, you guys feel free to weigh in with a different opinion if you want, but, obviously Beast is awesome. Gaston, pretty darn good. Belle's father, excellent. Obviously, all the little characters like the clock and all that, Lemire, very well done. So, obviously, their standard is really high, but it was the first time I ever watched a Disney movie. And as I'm watching it, I'm saying to myself, oh, I can do this. I mean, what I'm seeing here, I can do that. But what will keep me from doing it is not the animation and it's not the drawing. That I know I can do. From what I saw today, I'm going, hey, I can do this. What's hard is everything except that. It's the story, it's the writing, it's the music, it's the density, the way they overlapped all the little gags that flow. And I will say as a screenwriter, because I've written a lot of screenplays, let me look at, do you feel maybe some of the main characters receive less commitment than others? Hey Darren. Yeah, and of course Glenn Keane did Beast, and I wouldn't say I'm a mega huge fan of Glenn, but obviously he's an icon now, so you really can't criticize his work because he's an icon, right? But yeah, I think Beast was great. Again, I was a little surprised, and I always state it in personal terms. So to me, what I mean is, I'm looking at Belle and I'm just going, I know I can draw that well. Now the movement, some of it was awesome and some of it was just okay, but he had a really tough job to do. Let's be fair to James Baxter. I'm pretty sure it was him who did Belle. There was a lot of 3D activity. I mean, not 3D in the sense of CGI, but 3D in the sense of she's moving around and the camera's circling around her. And I mean, it is a really pretty demanding task to do. So I think that the takeaway that is significant vis-a-vis Maria's question is actually, for me, would be that it actually doesn't matter very much. Because I found that in that first 10, 15 minutes, there was so much entertainment value in characters that looked like this. I mean, you're talking about the characters that kind of look like this. They're almost this ridiculous, like background characters, and you're going, I'm just going, wow. But they're fun. I mean, the three girls that were pining over Gaston, hilarious. And the thing is, again, what made it so cool isn't the animation and not the drawing either. The drawing of those girls especially was just pedestrian, it's your garden variety Disney girl characters, What made them awesome was the story and the way they when Gaston was going to propose to Belle, and then all of a sudden they cut to the girls and they're crying. they're all weeping, right? Because they're not going to get Gaston. And I mean, it's just little touches like that is what made the movie great, I think. It's everything that isn't animation. And I think that's a significant takeaway. Now again, others might disagree. But for me, I was just stunned by the density. The density of the comedy and oh, it was just I was so impressed with the density in that movie. Okay, so Beast was more fun than Belle and got more attention, perhaps. Well, I don't know that Beast did get more attention than Belle. Maybe I don't really kind of know what the chatter's ever been out there, but um, I think Beast got more attention because Glenn Keane did the Beast, and he's just like I say, he's an icon, and anything Glenn does is going to be, people are going to really look at that and respect it. He did Tarzan too, as I recall, in their Tarzan movie. Um, Glenn has a very, very loose style that a great deal of the time I don't particularly like the level of looseness that you see in pretty much all of his work, really. Um, so he's stronger, and this will actually dovetail me into Anastasia. Glenn's work is really very much about the energy of the overall character feel and design as opposed to the details, I would say. And it's way more about the performance and the acting, I think. Because he animates really rough. I mean, he's a really sketchy kind of animator. And very cartoony. Now, where I will say this about Glenn Keane, and I don't think it's something very many people have ever said, but where Glenn Keane really shined and where he actually became the best animator he ever was in directing Tangled. When he got out of the animator's chair and started directing the other guys in this medium that he was not familiar with at all, he just, I mean, you think about that. It's like, okay, you don't know how this even works, right? This is the new style stuff and you're the old school guy. So the only thing he had to fall back on was his sense of story and timing and character. What's funny? What's entertaining? That's all he had to work with, basically. And he knocked it out of the park on Tangled. Unfreaking believable, the job. That movie is also super dense. So much really great stuff in that film. And by comparison, I think for me, Frozen is a piece of garbage. But Disney made more money on they made more money on Frozen, so you got to respect that. I find it completely mind-boggling personally, but because I don't think the movies even compare at all. I hated Frozen. It was boring to me. Not even close to the standard of Tangled. Don't know why. Not a clue. So those of you who are having a cow about this awful hand, remember, this is what you're going to actually see as the audience, okay? This is what you're going to see. Okay, well, actually, let's cut this down to, let's say, 50 frames. Okay, here's what you're going to actually see. Boom. Okay, now you understand. I'm animating this hand like trying to focus on what matters, right? So anyway, let's dovetail to Anastasia. Now, here's the interesting thing. Really interesting to me. Okay? Because Don Bluth knocked it out of the park when he did, in my opinion, Secret of Nim. And I really should do some YouTube videos on this, but, I'm just spending so much time. I mean, just doing the work, I'm just spending so much time animating. I don't really want to give a ton of time to, just little YouTube videos that are purely just to get views kind of thing, right? I just have work to do, So anyway, Anastasia. For me, I only have watched the first 15 minutes, and I've never watched the whole show. Okay, so with that as a backdrop, I put together what happens. Okay, so these guys have a scheme, and it involves having someone pose as Anastasia, and they don't really realize that they've got the real thing. Okay, I think that's basically the synopsis, right? If I'm wrong, somebody weigh in and tell me, because I've only watched 15 minutes of this movie. I've never seen the whole thing. And I'm pretty sure that's where this is going, okay? So I'm watching this thing. And what I was saying about Don Bluth is he knocked it out of the park when he did Secret of Nim. He really did. He kicked it. And Don always has struggled with having enough money to do whatever it is he thinks he wants to do at that point in time. And to this day, he's, now he's like 83 years old, and he's on YouTube, and he's trying to create some kind of property based on the old game, the Dragon's Lair game. And it looks to me like he's trying to do it as old school as possible, like he's still drawing on paper and, the whole thing. Okay. Okay, I respect that. That's your choice. But on Anastasia, what I saw in the brief time I was watching it that jumped out at me the most was that if you see the characters dancing around or walking around through the park, spinning around in a circle, and by the way, let's say what's really good about that movie. The color, the composition, absolutely are worn on its sleeve. The economics are really obvious, because what it looks very clear to me that when Anastasia's walking through the park and everything, it was clearly rotoscoped. Okay, now I'm not criticizing that. There's nothing wrong with rotoscoping. It's actually really, for most of you guys, if you guys want to do animation, I think you're stupid if you don't rotoscope, at least for the purpose of learning, because it's going to teach you a ton about motion and how things move and stuff. Okay, so in Anastasia, all the stuff that looked really beautiful was clearly rotoscoped. And then it'll cut to another scene, maybe with the little bat creature, or one of the secondary characters, or a human being in a close-up type of situation, and you can tell that they transition to standard, Don Bluth's doing plain old 2D animation again. And it actually felt like, oh my goodness, now I'm watching Land Before Bothered Me. And I'm not saying the story isn't working, because again, I haven't gotten very far into it. It may turn out to be great, although other people in our household have told me, you're not going to like it, Dave. I'm like, oh, why? What's wrong with that? It's a stupid story. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with the story? And she couldn't really tell me exactly what was wrong, but she just said it was a bad story. I take her at her work, because she's pretty, sensitive to those things. So we'll find out. I mean, I expect I'll probably watch it, unless it's so bad that I can't get through it and I have to quit, because it's just so... She did say it was boring. Actually, it was Kyle who said it was boring. My son said it was boring. Anybody else have an opinion about Anastasia? I thought the stuff that looked good looked amazing, and the stuff that looked just okay, it stood in stark contrast as being clearly hand animated by a hand animator who wasn't as good. So the best of it is pretty darn good, but a lot of it is kind of sitting in the middle somewhere. That was what I kind of felt anyway, watching it so far. Oh, and the other thing about Anastasia that really jumped out at me, and it stood out because I also watched a little bit of Beauty and the Beast, was the density is not there. Anastasia is very straightforward, and it basically looks like this. If you took the motifs, because remember, this was done in 1997, so if you took the motifs, oh, really? Well, I mean, that's perfectly legit. I mean, it's a terrible thing, I guess, that happened, right, to their family. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Curses. Yes, I lost my train of thought. I may get it back. No. Yeah, that's Beast Wars Megatron. I actually did that as a phone. I did it as a phone, as my own ringtone. So this is Megatron, leader of the Predacons. You have a priority call coming through. You will not ignore it. No. My friends used to love whenever my phone rang, they'd hear me doing Megatron. Okay, so we obviously have a problem here with the necklace, as far as the baubles are bouncing around. But I think by going ahead and drawing the string, we're actually going to give ourselves a little excuse here, because essentially the baubles, they're just bouncing around on the string. You know, they're kind of sliding up and down and around on it because they're not all tight on there. So that's cool. That's cool. We can do that. It's a bit of a cheat. So Anastasia is not dense. Okay, well, yeah, what I was trying to say is that if you took, I said it was done in 97. Okay, if you took everything that one might learn from watching Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, maybe Hunchback, you know, especially Hunchback probably, if you were going to say that they were influenced by the Disney stuff that was going on, probably Hunchback would be top of the list. Then, unfortunately, I came away with the feeling that, you know, they're taking all the sort of motifs and gags that work in the Disney movies, but without the charm and the density and the comedy that a lot of times it's those subtle things that I'm talking about is the reason why you remember it being so good, right? And so it's almost like they're getting the surface techniques without this bauble. We'll get this bauble in. Wait, is that right? Yes, it is right. Okay, fine. Okay, so there's that, and then this one has, I guess we're going to have to go purple and hope for the best. So this one's kind of really in crazy disarray for one frame. I'm afraid I'll just have to expect that the world will keep turning despite that, because this is getting strung out quite a bit. I just don't think it matters. No. Alright, so well, Don Bluth, you know, he was a Disney animator, and then I think that probably through the period of, say, Robin Hood and anyway, sometime in the 60s or maybe into the 70s, he left Disney to kind of do his own thing because he just thought Disney was chimping out too much, mainly because of the economics of it. And he was right. I mean, it's true. That was not their finest period, although there's some really good stuff in there. Okay. Let's see what we have at this point. Okay. Yeah, and see, obviously the baubles, here's how we'll fix the baubles. So if there's a Krita tip in here somewhere, here it is. What I'm going to do, the problem that we have is that the baubles got colored in and everything. And then, but because I baked the ink and the color together, you've got this lip sync over the top, and the lip sync goes on after the baubles. So as you can see, the only thing that changes is the lip sync and the facial expression. So that's easy to fix. Here's how. On my main layer that has my ink and paint, let me do this. I'll put I better get the ink and paint, or the ink on this last bit here, otherwise I'm going to wind up having to do the same thing over again. So let me get that on there, and then I'll show you all how you fix the problem. Some of you might already know the secret technique that we are going to refer to. It is a very secret technique. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to hit the S key, and I'm just going to grab everything, just everything. Control C, Control V. Okay, so I just covered it up. I made a copy of that stuff over top of the other. Okay, so on sequence. So this piece, now it's just reconnected, so I'll say this again. So the piece we cut out from here and pasted here, we just hit Control X, Control V, it just creates a new layer. And then Krita puts a blank keyframe here because in the layer we cut it from, there is a keyframe there. So it thinks you don't want it to continue over, but actually we do. So then I delete this keyframe, and so now everything that's complete and good just plays over top of everything that isn't. So therefore, if I turn this layer off, you can see the garbage reappears. So now, having done that, I just hit Control E and merge the layers, and now that problem with the baubles not being colored in is fixed. Easy, huh? And Dirt comes along with another one of Dirt's one-liners. Earlier it was, well, I don't remember what it was, but the current one-liner is blep. So thank you, Dirt, for your blep. So I had something weird happen today, actually. It's happened a couple times now since I've been live streaming more. Is I'm getting these, I assume they're bots, but they might be actual YouTubers that are posting comments. You know, if you want me to be your girlfriend, you know, message me or something like that. Like, what the heck? Really? That's what we're gonna do, huh? Nuts. Nuts, I tell ya. Okay, so now the question becomes, boom, bop. I think that frame right there should have motion blur. Let's try it and see if we like it. I don't think it should be very strong motion blur, so I'm going to hit Shift like this. I'm just going to select these guys. Have you? Okay. Yeah, that's what I do. I just delete them. It's like, how stupid can you get? Blur, Mo blur. And we're going to go, let's do, say, 30. Yeah, that's probably about right. That looks good, doesn't it? Let's see what happens. Look at that. Boom. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to blur the stuff that's a little objectionable here at the top. I'm just going to blur that as well. So let's hit Control F to just repeat that filter. I think the second key doesn't need to be. Okay. Look at that. Everything's smoothed right out. Motion blur can be your friend. Okay, so we're almost done, but not quite, because we do have to deal with shadows. Dirt. Oh, Dirt said something that was more than one word. Hey, thank you, Dirt. There are bots I get on my channel, but don't click those links. Is that what HS is that? Is that what that is? Dirt, you're a funny guy there, Dirt. Shadows. Let's work backwards. And I am gonna actually put in keys for all of these. So boom, 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 boom. We're just gonna go ahead and work backwards now. All right. So here we go. Since we're on a separate layer, this will be relatively painless to do. Okay. Just have to kind of look and see what I did. Okay, and actually this is all in shadow as well. It's like, what's that dog? What was the dog's name? I don't know. I'm thinking like Muggsy or something. I can't remember that dog character on the old Saturday morning cartoons. Muttley. Okay, so I said Mugsley, so I was not too far. Okay, by the way, from a quality standpoint, I think it probably would be good to just take a little of this shadow out, so she's got a nice little rim light there, and that will make her. This is a good tip for you guys actually in your own work. You know, just allow a little bit of a rim light because it makes her pop against her background. It might not even be physically, you know, it might not actually make sense in the real world that light would sneak around, but it sure makes it look better, right? So you might as well just do what looks good, and I think actually I'm gonna follow that through like so. Probably not on her hip. Okay, but I think that's probably well advised. So let's just do it, man. Let's just do it. So yeah, watching Beauty and the Beast and Anastasia, little bits of it, was, I found, profoundly encouraging, because when I compared what I was seeing, you know, you can freeze frame it, right? Dastardly. When I saw what they did, I thought, dude, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. I'm pretty determined to. Oops, we don't want to be in erase mode, you silly, silly goose. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this arm through the whole sequence, just so I don't have to think about it anymore, because it's a bit of a distraction from the main. Okay, so up here, she's got, yeah, I mean, she's got a little bit of her face coming in, so I'm going to just kind of go like this. We'll just call that good for now, and then we'll come back and add the rest. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think that'll work. Okay, and now we're going to actually let that rim light be on there and kind of just grab a little bit of that. Okay, double check against this. Okay, so little mistake there. Really, this should probably come all the way down like that. I'm going to just kind of go around her. It's a little bit tricky. Get the shape that I want. Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of, maybe. Dastardly, huh? Mr. Cartoon Trivia over there. Alright. I suppose I probably could sneak down here just a little bit. Oops. Again. I didn't mean to be in erase mode. Oh dear. Erase mode will get you. It'll get you, I tell you. I remember those, the wacky racers. Yeah, I think I don't think those characters were only part of the wacky racers because I mean, Hanna-Barbera tended to reuse their characters in all kinds of things. I remember seeing the whatever that show was where they took all the Hanna-Barbera characters and had them do like a weekly. It's kind of the most ridiculous thing to think. You got cartoon characters that are engaging in like athletic contests. Saturday mornings, back when Saturday mornings were a thing. Oh, believe me, I grew up on that. I really, really did. Okay, so now I would say let's back up here and actually kind of respect this texture we have on the later frames because I kind of like that. Gives it a little bit of pop. And I think the shot might be done. And then we'll cut it into the show. Let me double check the... Yeah, I would say shadow-wise we're a little bit... sorry. We have to be a little bit careful because, unfortunately, yeah, that's not going to work. I have a little bit of shadow that's baked into her. So, but that's okay. I mean, that works. And then we could actually go, we could say, let's let that shadow sneak in right here. So it's gone, sneaking in, a little more dense. And then here, probably we should just go ahead and allow that to prevail on the shadow side. Now let me see about this. I am just not sure. Honestly, that really does belong in there. I think this whole zone should probably be shadowed. But I think once I get that done, I would say this shot is probably ready to cut into the show. So I will look up at comments, see if there's anything new. My father from Spain learned a lot of his English from watching Saturday cartoons. Yeah, there you go. Mighty Mouse. I remember Mighty Mouse too. I remember Mighty Mouse from probably when I was like 2 years old on a black and white television. So that would have been probably 1968. Crazy, man. Crazy. Crazy how old you can get. Well, I'm a wizened old 54-year-old man. Yep, black and white TV. Yep, we had a little one. I remember when we got our first color television. It was probably I'm going to guess probably 74 maybe, something like that. And I remember the first thing we saw on it was the TV show Emergency, which of course was about firemen. And oh, the reds were just so vivid. It was so cool. I'd never seen that. Waiting for it to... Okay, sorry, I had to wait for OBS to reconnect again. Oh, that's great, Maria. I'm glad to hear there's some other old fogies in the audience. Um, I always just naturally assume people are probably youngsters for the most part. Although, Darren, how old are you? If you don't have to say if you don't want to. I'm guessing you're in the 40 zone somewhere, a little north or south of 40, maybe. My mother was a little leery about color and microwaves. Oh yeah, well we were pretty we were bullish on microwave, I have to say. When the microwave came out, we were pretty much right on board. And I do remember our first microwave. That is so cool. Maria, I'm glad you told me that. I think that's so cool. Okay. That's it. So we obviously don't need um, that many frames. So I'm going to say probably a little smile and then boom. So I'd say right there, just to give it a little bit of breathing room, we'll say 36. So this is shot number 313. Alright, save our work. And Control R. 313, 313. I'm going to put this up on the other screen. It's been a long day of live streaming and I want to make sure I'm not seeing it. My eyes do get a little bit fuzzy. A little bit fuzzy. That's perfectly natural. Oh man, dudes, is that poppin' or what? I'm telling you, I am seriously enjoying. I'm enjoying my own work. I actually am. I'm looking at the background paintings and the contrast and the color, and I'm just going, wow, this is actually fun to watch, man. Super cool. All right, on to the next shot, because the next shot's just a variation of this one. But I am going to have to draw her. 49. Okay, yeah. All right, cool. You're looking good, man, for 49. It's kind of a sucky thing, but I was always mistaken for younger than I am, right? Until about 2 years ago. Thank you, Maria. And I wouldn't call it watercolor. That's really not what it is. It's the brush behaves more like oil paint for the most part. But no, what I like about it is I'm reaching a point where I'm able to just execute an impressionistic background like that, where it's all just kind of blabs of color to suggest what you're supposed to think you see. And you know, I'm getting better at it. I'm finding myself actually able to do what I have been wanting to do, and that's always fun when you. And that's why I always tell people to just forget arguing about what software to use and just do it, because you have to do a lot of it. And the more I'm just in real time, you guys are seeing it. Where the more I do, the more I'm getting to where I can look at this stuff and know how to handle it. You know, the biggest thing I've learned, I will say this, and I'm glad to say it right now, because Darren's here, and of course we've been tuned into each other's channels for a while. The biggest thing I'm learning right now, that you're seeing very much on these most recent shots, is that the same thing I've kind of been saying the last couple days. The easy way is the hard way, and the hard way is the easy way. And the more often I find myself just, you know, redrawing things. If they're not right, just erase it and redraw it. I'm finding I'm getting much better results. And the other thing is, well, my age is 19. My age is 19. I realized several years ago, Maria, that I'm like, one day I'm feeling like, man, I'm really tired. You know, I want a nap or something. And then I stopped and I said, wait a second. When I was 19, it was the same way. I remember when I was in college being like, you know, because I work out every day and been pumping iron every day since New Year's Day 1983. So I've been lifting weights for, what is that, 30? Oh my gosh. Almost 40 years. Almost 40 years of lifting weights almost every day. That's crazy, man. But it's helped. For me, I think it's been a real benefit. Your mileage may vary. Okay, so let's go to this and see what we need to do. This is going to be shot 315, and she is going to go into a... So anyway, I decided I'm just going to stay 19. That's my policy. I'm 19. Oh, I'm younger. 62 than ever was. Well, that's right. I mean, I think that when they say a life begins at 50, there's a lot of truth to that because, and it's sad, but what happens, I think, for a lot of people, it certainly has to a degree with me, is you begin to shed, you shed your fears, and you kind of learn to tell the truth, and you become emotionally healthy, and you realize the ego really is not helping you. Now, actually, I just made a mistake. I need to undo that because, yeah, I need to keep the mouth shapes around. So, this group can be deleted. Yeah. This group I'm going to delete. And it doesn't want to let me delete it. Is it locked? It's not locked. What's going on here? I guess I need to actually use the garbage can. You can't just hit delete. It just deletes what's on the layer. So I'm keeping this because this is the mouth shapes. I forgot about that. Yeah, and this. I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep this in here too because we're going to be cutting to a close-up of her. I might as well keep that and use it. Sheesh. So let's save our work. Stop. Sorry, guys. My bad. We are not going to save our work. I already saved my work. I'm going to save it under a new file name. You guys almost saw a major disaster just take place. Save as, and this is going to be 3:15, not 3:13. Holy cow, that was close. That would have upended my entire afternoon. Interesting. Oh, I like having dirt around to pop in every once in a while with a one-liner. That's awesome. Okay. What are we doing? Well, what we're doing, believe it or not, is we are going to take this shadow layer, drag it up to there, and then here's what we're going to do. We're going to select all these frames, and we are going to remove frame and pull. Boom. Okay. All right, that gets us started on 3:15. Let me look at the dialogue. Make sure we're on the right page here. So why did we cut to a close-up there? If we're going to cut to a close-up, which we definitely could, she really ought to be framed up properly. But now what we need to do is make sure that's the right. Okay, so probably what should happen is, okay, here's what we're going to do, guys. This is going to work. All right. Checking. Age is a funny thing. The more you hit these milestones, the more you realize that the number's not important. It's your attitude that counts. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Okay. I'm going to do the usual. I am going to give her 4 frames to figure out what she's doing. And by the way, I'm baking the shadows in. I'm baking them in. We're going to commit. We're going to flatten out, which tends to be my general policy. I'm big on flattening things out and being, you want to have the courage to just make it work. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to hit the A key. I'm basically animating straight ahead. So we'll do an ease, and then I'm going to jump forward 1 frame and ask myself, where do I want her to land? And I want her to land here. Okay? With a caveat, and the caveat is that I want this to be like that, and her whole facial expression is going to change. Okay, so now the question becomes, how do we get from here to there? So let's turn on the onion skins, and we're going to go from this with a little tween, and then a big change, right? Okay, so now that means we need to grab the whole kit and caboodle here, and I'm gonna say we're gonna jump. So we're doing what I described the other day. We're gonna do a slow in and a slow out, but with nothing in between. So it'll snap. Oh, come on, Dave. Did you just do what you just did? I'm supposed to be here. So it'll snap from the position to position, And here, same situation. Let's just grab this. We're going to have to clean it all up anyway, so let's just do it. Okay, so I'm going to look here. I tried your selection and move method yesterday and today in my project. It saves so much time and works so nicely. Thanks. Awesome, Maria. I'm super glad to hear that. That's great. Yeah, you just have the time to just patch it, you know, just patch the hole. I'm going to do that right now. Little patch here, okay? That's cool. I'm actually glad to hear I'm, you know, actually helping someone. You never know. The funny thing for me about the techniques is almost every technique I use, I have not learned from anybody. I just, it's all born of necessity. I'll tell you a funny story about that. When I started making films, it was about 2008, I would say. It was just me and a friend saying, you know, it'd be kind of fun to do. We'd done some like corporate video stuff or whatever, and we're just let's make a movie, you know. Well, the thing is, this was before modern DSLRs hit. There were no modern DSLRs. Okay, you had camcorders, of course, but ours were, I wouldn't say ours were professional. They were kind of semi-professional. The Sony FX1 was what we acquired when we started the business. And so the problem was that the FX1 did not shoot 24p. Okay? The FX1 would only shoot 60i, which is interlaced video, which essentially looks like video or videotape. The difference between film and video, if you guys don't know, is that video is typically at 60 half frames per minute, and the frames are interlaced. So one frame has half the information, and then the other frame has the other half of the information, and they get interlaced together. And so the net result is 30 frames per second, but they're interlaced, so there's really 60, and you get this really smooth live look, which is what you see when you see videotape. It's what you see when you watch sports on TV, or when you watch a game show or some reality show. Well, there was no 24p cameras that were affordable. Okay? So I had to, so I'm like, how do I make this look like film? What do I do, you know? And so long story short is, I tried a lot of different techniques that involved a lot of software manipulation of video frames in order to sew them together, to tear them apart and sew them back together in a way that looked more film-like. And then, but my point is that I figured out how to do it, and it worked pretty well. And what I figured out was completely born of necessity. And then it was like years later, oh, there's a problem. Oh wait, that's the onion skins. I thought I was seeing a shadow. So years later, I found out that what I had figured out how to do was, I was a few years ahead of the curve. I'd figured out something that not a lot of people had figured out, and it was just because I had to. It was completely born of necessity. I didn't know it was impossible. Put it that way. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't know it was impossible. There was no one to tell me that it couldn't be done, and so I just figured it out. You know. Crazy, man. Crazy. Crazy how that works. So I guess my point was that I've approached animation the same way. I mean, yeah, I've got the books. I've got Richard Williams' book, and I've got Disney Animation, The Illusion of Life, but I really haven't learned that much from them. Most of what I've learned by just diving in and being frustrated with the software, and it's like, I'm going to figure out a way. We're going to figure it out somehow. Okay. So now we could do this. This is interesting because we could do this as a sequence. No, we couldn't. Because she's actually, okay, so one problem. Oh boy. Yeah, that's a problem. I think I can fix that with the liquify, actually. I'm going to try, just so I get up. Ah, we're not spinning. Hopefully that did the trick. Let's find out. Yep, perfect. Oh boy, I got lucky on that one. Okay, so now we got to deal with her arms. Here's how we're going to deal with her arms. You guys are going to find this very interesting. Ready? This can be great. Here we go. Delete. G. S key. Delete. We are chopping her arms off. Okay, so now we got to think about tweening. So the question is, I would say, I got to think about this because the position she, okay, I'm going to look at the messages here. Yes, that's how I found forced word perfect. Yes! Yes, you just figure it out. Absolutely, man. That is so true. All right, I'm going to save my work. Okay, I think I'm going to trust my gut on this. And my gut is we'll leave it here on this tween. We've got to have a tween here. So I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to go like this. I'm going to take it out completely. I want to just completely redraw it because that's what works. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample this. This is mostly her sleeves, obviously, so we might as well. So the question is actually whether we want to snap back and then into the folded arms. Okay, the folded arms is kind of easy, right? So we're going to go, let's see, we'll go like this. And then we'll go like this. So, you know, there we go. Folded arms. We'll go ahead and go in there and tighten it up and probably, let me zip in here a little bit and chisel this down slightly. Okay. So that'll get us pretty darn close to the folded arms business. And then we've got to change her facial expression because she's a little bit ticked off at TNR at this point. I mean, she's just told TNR she's going to be married to the freaking prince, and TNR is complaining about it. Oh, please, TNR. You ought to be a little grateful. You know, that's kind of the attitude that's going on. So now, what I'm wondering is, do we want to do a... Do we want to do... Let's try it. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We're going to actually try going to this extreme. Just to see if it works. I suspect it won't. I think it's going to be too much of a change. And it's going to look overly forced as far as the animation goes. But it's worth a try. It's going to take us 2 minutes to try it, so let's try it. Right? So we'll just block all this in. That wasn't supposed to happen. We'll worry about the details later. So now the question becomes, what about this arm? And I'm going to say, I have to see this. This is tricky, guys, because I got to see this in silhouette. I have to think about what I'm seeing here in silhouette. Okay? Meaning, boom, 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 boom. Okay? She's cocking her arms back and then snapping them into a fold. So again, I think it's too much of an anticipation, if you will. But thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. I guess you've probably noticed we haven't seen the old save thing happen here in a bit. Yeah, that's absolutely not working. I didn't think it would. So, if we're going to get to here, I think we just need to be a little more conservative. So I'm going to grab this. Let's erase this. Just take it out. Take this out as well. And just rethink that. Hey, I told you I didn't think it would work, but So I'm gonna actually do that. This is how I've found quite a bit lately. This tends to work the best for me is I just draw what I know I'm gonna need, because you'll see that may not make any sense to you, that little squiggle right there, but you're not seeing what I'm seeing maybe. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing her hand come in, right? And now in this one, I would be inclined to just say let's stuff that under like that and just see how it works. But that, I think that did it. Didn't that do it? That did it. That's what we needed. So, and I don't know if this is a skill or a gift or if anybody can learn it, but I find I have a pretty good, I find it relatively easy to see just a silhouette outline. And when I see the silhouette, I see the character inside the outline, right? This is something I was going to say yesterday when everybody was talking about like drawing technique. I was going to say, just draw a shape, you know, in gray or whatever, or some, you know, neutral color, and see if you see the character inside the shape. So for me, the biggest problem with this is probably the tween, actually. I feel like I want to see a little bit more change here. So I'm going to just kind of trust my gut on that one and go like this. And let's bring this one down too. We'll just wrap right around that arm. And then again, we're just going to have a few things to clean up. Maybe a lot, but we'll see. Let's see what that does. I suspect that's going to be a step backwards as well. So rewind. Let me see this. Yeah, I don't see that tween helping. I actually think the tween needs to come out completely. I think it's just getting rid of our snap for us. Yep. Okay, kind of like Michelangelo seeing the statue inside the marble and chipping away at what he didn't need. I'm sure it was a similar thing. I'm just I'm gonna compare myself to Michelangelo. You start with drawing with an action line. See, that I don't do. The whole action, and that's a great example of what I was talking about, figuring out just figuring out by doing, because I see animators talk about the action line all the time. I just don't. I have not found that particularly useful. The whole concept of an action line hasn't really helped me much. And I think what I'll probably do is I'll use these mouth shapes down here to go ahead and get the lip sync right, and then I'll deal with her eyes, because that's really what's going to sell her proportion energy. I kind of build up from it in the levels feature. Cool. Hey, whatever works, man. Whatever works. Let's be pragmatic. Let's do what works. That's what we want to do. I've spent too much of my life fighting against what works, trying to do what I think should be working. And I think that's one reason why my work here has been improving lately, is because I've quit fighting it. I've quit then thinking about, you know, which software would help with this or that, and just, you know, realize, look, this is animation. You have to just get in and do it. And it always seems to turn out better. Going to Italy and seeing a lot of Michelangelo, including, oh, that's cool. I've never been to Europe. I've never been to Europe. Actually, I've only been out of the States one time, and that was Windsor, Ontario, which doesn't even count. You're just going through you go through the tunnel and you're in Canada, you know. I just went there for a job interview back in the, it would have been probably 1991, I think. Yeah, Windsor doesn't count as a foreign country, exactly. Okay, and there's one thing I want to do here. I think, let me see. I think, you think, I think, life's just a run. Silly, I tell you. Beach party movies, beach blanket bingo. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Yeah. Beach blanket bingo. Beach blanket bingo. That's not quite how it went. Beach blanket bingo. That's the name of the game. Alright. Remember the guy who used to always give himself the finger, but instead of doing the finger, like, you know, the finger, he'd do this, and it would make him go, it would make him freeze. So stupid. It was so stupid. Oh my gosh, was it stupid. Alright, now I'm going to turn on alpha lock. G key. Transparency. Quite low. I mean, actually, transparency is quite high. And we're just going to bake in some shadows because we're feeling courageous. Courageous, I tell you. We're not afraid. We're not afraid to get right in there and add shadows. Yes, yes, shadows. Quite beautiful indeed. Right? Shadows, shadows. Why do I dislike CSP? I dislike. I'm gonna give you a smart aleck answer today. Today I dislike CSP because I'm getting shit done in Krita. I don't need CSP today. Okay, that's my smart aleck answer. However, my real answer is, multiple times, what I've done is, let me check something here real quick. Trying to think where the heck I stuck it. I think I stuck it in the miscellaneous archive. Yes. Okay, so the problem with this is that if I show somebody this, what I'm about to reveal on screen, the first thing they're going to tell me is that Clip Studio Paint's been updated. That's the first thing. And by the way, that's Valerie on the screen. If you can see that. They're going to tell me that Clip Studio Paint's been updated and that there's added features and the animation's improved and blah, blah, blah. But when I've used Clip Studio Paint, I think the brushes feel pretty good. My basic beef with Clip Studio Paint is that I find the interface, their icons, the organization of the animation, the layering system, the millions of really tiny icons, I find this interface to be utterly inscrutable. Like, it's so busy and complicated. And to the degree I've dove in and really tried to work with it, it's been nothing but frustration. That's the truth. So, sorry. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, I'm going to have to edit each of these, by the way. Okay, let's go ahead and edit these right now. So I've got Clip Studio Paint. I just don't use it. If I was going to use it, what I would do is I would simply, since I've got the light version, which only gives you, I think, 24 frames of animation, I'd be like, that's fine. I mean, at 8 frames a second, that's 3 seconds of animation. You get a lot done. Okay, a lot done. And so there's no problem with that. And then I would just see how it goes. And what I am dealing with at the moment, folks, is that, let me grab my brush. Okay, that seems to be working. So, okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little better. Just stay in eraser mode in here. And just, we might as well, there's just 3 little keys of lip sync, so we might as well just make them work. And I think I'll actually duplicate them so that I can have some smiley ones and some frowning ones, because these ones are all smiling, but I can fix them into frowning ones in a hurry. So yeah, I would use Clip Studio Paint to just do, you know, 3 seconds or less of animation, see how it goes. But so far, there's just no compelling reason to, for the reasons I showed this morning. If I really need the better animation tools, I can take this picture of her right now and copy it into Tahoma, just like I did this morning with Tianara. You know, just cut and paste it into Tahoma. Why do I need Clip Studio Paint? You know? Now, the guys that like it are very, very vocal about it. I am not that vocal personally about Krita. I did not mean to stick a key right there, by the way. I'm supposed to be on this layer, and I'm supposed to be using my right mouse button so that it actually selects the layer, right? I told you guys that yesterday. Why don't I ever listen to me? Yeah. I don't listen to myself very well, do I? So we're going to need these mouths, so we might as well just make them even more usable by cleaning them up, right? So I hope you guys aren't too bored watching me clean up the mouth. The mouths. That would be plural. Yep. I don't have anything against it, but I honestly can tell you that I just find the interface inscrutable. Nothing is, I will say this, nothing about it is intuitive for me. Some software, like take, you know, I've poked at a crack of TV Paint because I'm like, you know what, if I like it, I'll buy it. You know, it's a one-time cost, about $1,000. It'd be worth it if it's the right tool for the job. Seriously, no problem. But TV Paint is okay. You know, it's somewhat intuitive. It's a little unconventional because, like Blender, they really weren't following a lot of conventions when they created it. But you get used to its quirks pretty quickly. Clip Studio Paint is not like that. I find Clip Studio Paint utterly inscrutable. I can't just even start and get anything done at all, except just I can draw. I can draw some lines, and that's it. That's as far as I get with Clip Studio Paint, and it always becomes an exercise in frustration, and I've probably tried it at least 10 times. I really have. I've really tried to give that software a fair shake. And I love Moho. I mean, I use Anime Studio Pro. I'll tell you, if you're into vectors and you want an easy boning system that works really well, Anime Studio Pro, or obviously they're calling it Moho again now, but I have no problem with, you know, it's the same company, right? Now, to be fair, it's only the same company because they keep buying up these smaller software companies. But, yeah, so it's all good. All right, so now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these mouths, and I'm going to drag them back here. And then these ones, I'm going to change her attitude a little bit by hitting the A key, go into liquify mode. And then I'm just going to, I think that might have been a little aggressive. I don't know if this is going to work. I'll probably be faster just to redraw these, actually. I'm thinking. Yeah, because okay, that was kind of a boo-boo. Because all the deformations are simply, it's moving everything around, so to heck with it. I'm just going to redraw. So, that was a bit of wasted time, wasn't it? I heard there isn't much difference between CSP and Krita. Hey, Walter. Well, the thing is, I want to be careful not to how do I put this? I've heard lots of things, okay? But the only way you can really speak authoritatively is to actually use the software and figure it out and try it. And let me put it this way. Never one time, not one single time, have I ever heard anyone on a live stream or anywhere in a chat situation of any kind extol the virtues of Clip Studio Paint, where they also could continue from like what you just said, you know, you heard that there's not much difference. Okay. I have yet to see one single person who can then follow up that comment by saying, and here's why, you know, and explain anything that you can actually do with the software. I'm not sure why that is either. It's kind of a weird thing if you want to know the truth. It's a little weird. A little weird. And maybe that's because the people that are using Clip Studio Paint are professionals and they're busy doing professional work and they don't have time to dink around on, you know, on my YouTube channel. And I'm not kidding either. I'm not being snarky. That may well be the case because, you know, to a degree it is true that the professional software tends to, in some cases, attract the professional users a little bit more. You know, it's not exactly a rule, but there's some truth to that. Okay, I don't even want to look at her eyes. I have to guess what her eyes are going to look like because her eyes are going to have to be totally changed. I'm probably going to just paint over them. And by the way, Walter, you're not going to get much help with hand drawing today here, probably because the hands that I have drawn, as you can see right here, my friend, she's I'm sorry, I need to be back here because she's in motion. See this? Because she's in motion. Look at her hands on the first. Look at that. Look how bad that looks. It's terrible. But I'm the pragmatic animator, right? If I was going to change my channel name today, I'd change it to the pragmatic animator because I don't care if it looks stupid if it doesn't matter that it looks stupid. So here's some really bad hands. These ones at the end of the pose aren't too horrible, I guess, but anyway, thinking about good sources for learning how to draw hands. So what I'm going to do now is I am actually going to sample this color. Let me see here. I'm going to straighten her up like this. Whoops, I didn't mean to erase. I meant to sample. And I also need to not be using that particular brush because that brush is it's got too much of a texture around its edges. Nice. That attitude I like. That's what I was looking for. She reminds me of some people I've known. Okay. Let me jump to my script, by the way. Oh, come. To marry into royalty? It's a tremendous opportunity for your family. Okay. Here we go. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try an unconventional strategy. Alright? Here's my unconventional strategy. Watch this. I think this is going to work. I'm going to go like this. And just move this up. Okay? Then I'm going to grab... I would say, actually, I'm going to grab this and get rid of it completely. Okay, that happened a little bit ago. Oh, opacity. Dang. I'm like, what the heck's going wrong with my freehand path tool? Okay, so now I've got a little bit of garbage here I need to clean up. Okay. Now, why did I do that? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another layer and call it a mouth. Watch this. This is going to be a very unconventional approach, and I think it's going to work. So what I'm going to do is go to black. Alright. And I'm going going to go like this to marry into whoops. Well, I guess we can keep that in there. Royalty. Okay. Now watch this part. I'm going to sample that color, but I'm still on the mouth layer. I'm really giving myself a lot of extra work to do with Carleon, I must say. I must say. And then we gotta, I think we could just erase here. No, we can't. This mouth is gonna have to be deleted. Yeah, that's alright. Quick deletion, and then what I'll do is come back here, sample that color, and just put that on the mouth layer. Okay, you see what I'm doing? So I'm gonna do all the mouth shapes, and then I'm gonna wrap the lips around it. And like I said, I'll bet you it's gonna work, and if there's any glitches, I'll just go back in and chisel out of it and erase the glitches. Like I did right there. Now, these are gonna go by somewhat quickish, so we have a little bit of latitude on the shapes. Not a ton, though. We'll see how it works, you know, and this might not work. If it does work, this will be a very valuable technique going forward. I've never really seen anybody do it this way. But then again, I've never seen anybody do lip sync the way I do it either. And I'll tell you, the way I've been doing lip sync works really well. I'm at 8 frames a second. So if this was 24 frames a second, generally the lip sync would either be every 6 frames or every 3 frames. And I find it usually comes out looking pretty darn good. Now, there is one problem I just realized. Just thought of it. Okay. I'm going to have to do an unusual glitch here. Okay, what I need to do, this is what I need to do. I need to bring this mouth down to the transparency level that I would normally have the mouth be at. Can maybe make it slightly darker. And I'm going to go like this. This was a boo-boo on my part. Now I have to hit the fill tool, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this from turn those items off. Well, okay. I guess we want to grow 1 pixel. Let's try that. Yeah, that'll be okay. I got to go through here because that one's probably alright. Because normally I make the mouth shapes semi-transparent, and if I do that, then her lips are going to change to the wrong color. Great. So I'm sure you guys already knew what the problem was, so we're not going to be able to make the lips transparent in this case. So let's keep rocking. Let's keep going forward, and we'll see if it works. Okay, here, obviously this is pretty somewhat horrific. I like the pursed lips idea. But unfortunately the freehand path tool is not giving me quite enough control. So we'll zip this forward. I think there's a problem here. Let me solo this layer. Yep, that's what I thought. I need to go back here. Got this little dot like in the middle of the screen, causing grief. Well, Walter, that's a very nice thing to say. That's awesome. You can do it. That's the whole point. You can. It's just a lot of work to learn, and You know, as I say, I do lip sync. I do not do lip sync in a way that I have ever seen anyone else do lip sync. You know what? I don't care. It's the technique I arrived at that just it looks good. You know, what do I care how anybody else does it? And so I don't use third-party tools. You know, forgive me for this one, Darren, but the tool that does the automatic lip sync in OpenToonz, or I don't know if it works with like Magpie or one of those. Well, I can't remember what the free one is that the Moho people came up with, but I mean that technique takes, for me, 10 times as long, and it never even comes within a country mile of looking anything resembling good, ever. I've never seen it. Any automatic lip syncing technique or tool, even no. If somebody brought their lip sync to me with what I see come from those tools, I'd be like, okay, you know, you're fired, or go do it over, or, you know, whatever. It's just you can weigh in if you want to, buddy, but I just think it's a complete waste of time. I just think, man, dude, just learn to draw. Not you, but I mean, just people that want to do lip sync. Just learn to draw the freaking mouth shapes, and just understand what the basic timing of speech is. And if you do that, you'll never need a third-party tool. You'll just do it, and it'll work. And I mean, it's easily proven too, because if you actually look at the lip sync on any modern CGI movie, like a Pixar film or something, it's very crass. I mean, it's, you know, but it's still better than hey, rock and roll, baby. But this is look at her attitude, man. Her attitude is just screeching out of this. I love it. I'd be like, I don't want her for a mother, man. She's actually making me laugh with the attitude that's just eking out of these lips. It's hilarious to me. I think she says, "Oh, come." I think she says, "Oh, come. To marry into royalty?" Okay. The timing's off, obviously. Oh, it's funny. She's a cranky woman. I should say. She's ambitious. Okay, she says, "Oh, come." Boom. "Oh, come." All right, so here we need to soften that up a little bit. I use auto lip sync to save time, even manually done. You still have to go over it and fix things, and auto makes it easier. Well, yeah, it does. It makes it way easier. Soda pop, no doubt. It makes it way easier and way faster. All I'm asking is, does it make it better? Because every result I've ever gotten from automatic lip syncing software looks like garbage. It just, I mean, honestly, it looks terrible. I've never seen it work. Now, maybe it can. Maybe it does. I don't know. I've just never seen it. And I mean, we're talking examples where people are showing, look at what you can do. Look what you can do. No. I wouldn't want to do that. Now, if you can show me an example where it does a good job. Look, I will say this, too, with AI and everything, with all the things that are coming on technologically, it is something that will become better and better, and maybe in some circles it has gotten good. I just haven't seen it yet. That's all. Oh, come. Okay, so now I want to pause there. Oh, come. Okay, and this, she's got a very slow speech pattern. Oh. Okay, so probably just to be safe, let me see. Oh. Okay, I think, you know what, since the mouth is on its own layer, I think I'm going to lower it just a little bit. Oh, come. Okay, this I don't like. Let me see if there's another shape that, That's a good one. I'm going to put this one here. Oh, come. Yes. Oh, that's just dripping with attitude. Oh, come. That's still not long enough. She's got to really let these words breathe, baby. Oh, come. To marry into royalty. Okay. Now this whole scene is not long enough, so we got to extend this out. So Darren T, I agree for your short scenes, the way you do this is much quicker than well, and to be fair, remember the lip sync on this character is an order of magnitude. This is taking probably seriously 2 orders of magnitude longer than lip sync usually takes. Usually I do lip sync, it's literally boom, draw a shape, go two frames forward, draw a shape. I mean, boom, boom, as fast as I can say it, it's done. Whereas, but bypassing the match-up word to sound process by Miles. Yeah, well, that's fair. You're definitely welcome to your opinion. I mean, if you think it looks the same. I've just never had any luck with auto lip syncing software at all. Okay, so now what I want to do is probably I wonder if that would be work if I did that just for a change. Might. It might, but probably not. I'll probably have to move it again, but to marry. Okay, so to marry. Okay, so this should probably just go there. To marry. Okay, that definitely did not work. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Into... Okay, this... There's something missing. I'm going to actually just move these downstream and recapitulate. Okay, I want this shape. That does not belong. That's kind of an ugly shape, actually. Let's see. Oh, that's probably better on the word royalty. So I need another, maybe this one. Let's see. Okay, this closed mouth doesn't work. Let's get rid of that. So I want to... actually, that's not too bad. Boom. Problem is, there's a... Alright, I'm going to get this one here and get these out. Yeah, this is way more time consuming than lip sync usually takes. There's a definite glitch there. This does not work. I'm going to go G key. Actually, I want the B key, I think. Yep, I'm going to hit insert. snap back here. This might turn out to be like everything else. It seems like when I just redraw it, everything works a little better. Got a little bit of a big lip there going on, mama. Right there. Yeah, that's horrible, that one. And I think I'm gonna wind up deleting it. But we'll try and go with that. We'll give that a try. Papagayo's the one I was thinking of. To marry into royalty. Yeah, the timing's very choppy. Very choppy. And I think it's this shape. Keep coming back to this shape, and it keeps bugging me. Partly maybe because it's high, or I mean it's low. Dyslexia moment there. Yeah, it is. It was low. It was jumping around. Okay, I'm going to actually close everything up and let her. That worked. There you go. Done. That's it. That's it. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so now it gets worse because now we got a little bit of a right there. Boop. Yep, that's the one. Okay, that's better. Okay, I'm gonna stop and but by passing the magic wand. Pop a link up and show me some lip sync using Papagayo. I seriously would like to see it. Pop it up, baby. Pop it up. Show me. Show me how good it is. I want to know how good it is. You know, because I have tons of lip sync to do. You know. To a degree, I'm working in reverse. If I know in my mind the way I want the pacing of the speech to go, then my tools in Reaper, which is my audio software, audio and music production, are strong enough that I can, whoops, that was a glitch, is that I can cut the thing into pieces and time shift things a lot to make it fit perfectly. And I've done it actually on my films where I've had to do dialogue replacement and we didn't have a take that quite worked, and I've even labor intensive shot. This is not the most quick and dirty shot there is. I mean, there's a bit of labor involved in getting this one right. So, 'tis what it is. But as you can see, there's definitely some hiccups in the. Okay, now that's interesting. Oh, that's because of her hands moving around, right? Okay, cool. So now I'm just looking for. You can't even see it unless you get really close, but yeah, there's definitely some hiccups here in the stuff that's got to be glued back together. Patched up, as it were. This, I'm just going to fake it. This is all in motion anyway. It's not like we're ever going to notice these mistakes. You just aren't going to notice them. It's the kind of stuff that you say, hey, look, maybe downstream here a bit. Maybe somebody will notice it. Maybe they'll watch the show twice. And they'll say, hey, wait a second, what's that? And I say, hey, it's fun to find the mistakes. So it would be remiss of me as a producer to not leave some mistakes in there for the more astute viewers to find, right? How's that for a cockamamie rationalization of having low standards? Well, yes and no. It's actually, that is true, but it's also not true. Because I was talking the other day about how my friend Donio, the late great Donio, used to always get on me for letting certain things, certain details in the filmmaking process, where I'm like, dude, nobody's ever going to notice. That doesn't matter. And he'd just have a cow. And, you know, it never did turn out that anybody ever noticed any of the things that he got so upset about. So, just saying. Okay, so now she's quite in motion, and oh my gosh, we just had a glitch. Where is the glitch happening? Right there. Ah, there's the problem. I did not chop that one together. Silly me. Okay, so what I think I need to do here is grab this color, and have I got the G key? Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go like this, and all I'm going to do is just kind of thinking like an animator here. I'm just going to try to create a little bit of a sense of continuity here, so it's not chattering as much between these frames. Yeah, so we need to have that right there as well. It's probably still going to chatter though, so if it does, we can fix that. We can fix that. Hopefully your attention will be not on this, and I think it won't be. I think your attention's going to be on her arms, because her arms are swinging around like crazy here. And I'm pretty sure if somebody was actually watching this, let's just see. If you were actually watching this, yeah, you'd still notice it though, because the chatter happens after she settles. So that's not excusable. So how do we fix that? Well, no big deal. I have a question though. Why are these two keys even here? Because of the lip sync? Well, if that's true, then this one can go. Boom. That's probably okay. Land. Land. And then it changes. So actually, we can get rid of both of these, I believe. Boom. Yeah, I just had her frowning a little bit. But she's got a little bit of a cynical smile on her face. A little bit. So I think we're okay. Hey, Amar. Darren T made software thingy for auto lip sync. Yep. In my opinion, it's the same, but auto might save you just a few steps. Yeah. Well, yeah. For me, it's probably like, I don't know, it's hard to say. Because, you know, in this case, I had 3 mouth shapes, so I could do standard anime style lip sync. And, okay, I see what I got to do. Right here, I need to go like this. And hit the G key and get rid of her mouth. Oh, come. To marry you to royalty. We're definitely on the right track. But what I was kind of saying is we still have to deal with her eyes and mouth. So, how do we want to do that? Well, why don't we put in a layer and ColourPop Studios. I'm kind of new here. May I ask what you've been making? Yeah, you can ask. I'm kidding. All right, hang on a second. All right. We'll do the occasional recap here in just a second. We need to call this eyes. It's actually really going to be the brows. Okay, do you guys mind if I'll take 1, maybe 2 minutes and just scan so that ColourPop Studios can see what the heck's going on. Maybe working backwards to a degree. This is the shots I did today. I'll work backwards because for you, most of this isn't going to matter if it runs backwards because there aren't, and the story doesn't really make sense anyway. So there's a little, yeah. So this part. These are shots that were done the last couple days. let's scan through here. So it's a cartoon. What you've been making is a cartoon, and it is a 48-minute long pilot for a show that's being produced essentially for a distributor that has distributed feature films that I've written and directed and whatnot over the years. And so it's not really for a network or a platform as much as it's for a distributor, and then the distributor will get it out to the common platforms like Tubi and probably, you know, like Pluto TV, Amazon Prime, yada yada yada. So this is what I'm working on. You enjoy the recaps? Okay. Looks cool. Can't wait to check it out. Yeah, and so at this point, there's Monkey. Darren loves the monkey. Boom. So this shot I think I did yesterday. So it's coming along. He's kind of pining about a girl. Yeah, Monkey's going to turn out to be a big win. And then this shot was done actually today. This shot and the stuff with her mother. She's just found out that she's going to be married off to the prince, actually, which you would think would be a good thing maybe. But she's not into the idea of being married off to the prince at all. And so now her mom's kind of, oh, come on, you're being married to royal. Quit your complaining. You know, it's this sort of an attitude. So right now, where are we at? We're actually at 18 minutes and 44 seconds. Out of the first half, and I'm expecting at this moment, so I've got this much to do. What is that? That is 12 minutes. I got about 12 minutes to go, and then if I divert my attention away from the animation back to like the soundtrack and the voices and everything, then I could release the first half as a 24-minute episode, and then there's about 8 minutes done on the back half. Because when I started working on this, I actually worked in reverse, so for reasons I won't get into. But so there's about 24 minutes done now. It's just that it's not sequential. So if it was 24 minutes in a row, I'd be ready to go ahead and turn it into an episode. I mean, you know, release it. I don't want to release it, though, unless I can be reasonably confident that part 2 will be able to be released preferably like a month later, because otherwise you're making people wait a long time for something that's obviously a 2-part. You know, it's really one long episode, even though there is a natural break point, I must say. Okay, so eyes. Okay, so what we'll do is here on the mother, I will hit the G key down here on Carliana, and I'm going to go ahead and erase her eyebrows. And that way I can just start clean. Let's just go in here and tighten this up a little bit. Maybe, actually, let's do that. We definitely have a little bit of goofiness going on because of the shadows, and I'm actually gonna cheat just a little bit here. It feels like it all follows a specific map. I mean color map. What do you mean by color map? Not sure what you mean by that. You talking about the color, like for the color work on the characters, or I don't know what you mean by a color map. All right. Now we jump into the eye. Now we can make the eyebrows black because we're going to make them slightly transparent. So I'm going to hit the M key and I don't like that last little ditty. Now let's pull them back and ease them in and say, yeah, probably something like that will be okay. Now I want to give them a little thickness. Little thickness. Okay. So I don't know what you mean by color map. Oh, Soda Pop, help me out. Help me out, my friend. Clarify. Clarify. Okay. Okay, so now... Oh, come. Okay. I think right here, we should hit the G key. And let's give a little bit of a... Oh, come on. All right. All right, fine. I'm going to redo this. I am going to redo this. I'm going to actually take this hair color, and I'm going to go right over this right now, because I've got the same problem I had with the mouth. Normally what I do with mouths is I just do these shape animations on a single layer. And like this is like the one time I'm doing things a little differently, just because I want to torture myself and make the animation on this nasty woman 10 times harder than it otherwise would have been. So I'm basically giving myself a lot of extra work on this lady. Well, because I'm doing it differently, I can't, if I'm going to put any skin on this layer, then I can't have the layer be partially transparent. Duh, right? Obviously. So, so I'm going to go back and actually get the color right. So, fine. All right, so that's actual size. That's looking pretty good. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that, my friends. Forgive my silliness. All right, and I'm just going to brush this on. You know, I got to say, this brush right here, the plain old stupid pencil, when I just do like 99% of my work with that pencil, I seem to do a lot better work. Okay, so here we've obviously got a little... look at that. Isn't that sweet? That's a delicious little... Okay, so now we need a little bit of this color again. Come back in here, because the woman does wear her eye makeup, you know. Okay, somebody's got a comment. Inio-san, what's going on, buddy? Okay. So let's have a look. Yeah, she is truly a nasty, ambitious color scheme. Walter's going to be back. For all the scenes, it has an overall color map. No? Oh, okay. Sort of a color scheme common to the whole show kind of thing. I think that's what you mean. Not really. If the truth be known, not really. I mean, there's the colors. Like when I designed it, I said I gave this guy a costume that he wears earlier in the show, and then he's got a different costume that he wears later in the show. This one. But as far as an overall color map to the show itself, I would definitely say no. I'm getting better with my background paintings, though, and so that sort of suggests stylistically the direction we're headed, I would say. But whenever you're doing a film, and it's probably less difficult with a cartoon because there is a little more planning involved. With a film, what you find is you often have to color correct literally every single shot. You know, color correction is a lot of the work of making a film. I can promise you that. Okay, I don't know if I need to do any more with her eyebrows than I did right there. I think her eyes are kind of working here. I'm feeling like I wanted this to land earlier. Yeah. Which means, let me see here. Forgive me for being a little bit of a clunker. Let me just, I gotta zip out so I can see what I'm doing so I don't delete the wrong thing. But I believe if I kill this and then come back here and go take my G key and just delete these bloody eyebrows. Oh. Wait, why are they baked? Oh, classic Krita mistake. I did it again. You've got to click with your right mouse if you want to have it also grab the layer. I am absolutely a silly goose. I'm a silly goose. There's no glossing over it. There's no making excuses. I am a silly goose. Okay, so now, boom, there we go. Mom's got an attitude. Boom. Okay, otherwise overall color tone we use matrix. Yeah, well I did that in my my fourth film called Out of Time. The trailer for it's on my website, but I actually followed the pattern of the Matrix. That film has a really good soundtrack too. I was channeling the music that Harry Gregson Williams wrote for the movies he did with Tony Scott and Denzel Washington, like Deja Vu, for example, Unstoppable, Pelham 13, I believe it was called. Harry Gregson Williams. So I was channeling him on my fourth movie, and the soundtrack, literally the entire movie is all the music revolves around one chord, which is a C minor. I've actually used some of the music that I wrote for that film and put it in the background as the background music on some of the speed paints I've done on my channel. So if you look up the speed paints, the odds are it's going to be music from Out of Time you're hearing in the background. I do. I see what the problem is, and this is a big problem. It's a big problem that we're going to have to work out, and we're going to have to work it out now. Yes, don't delay. No. That goes by so fast you can't see the glitch. Boom. Yeah, do you see the glitch? See the problem? This mouth is... I'm about to have a dyslexia moment, folks. So I think what I need to do is turn the mouth layer off. So it settles down to this. Oh, I know what I need to do. Okay, I got it now. I need to actually go to I need to take this color, and on Carliana, because the mouth actually starts I'm sorry, that's the eyes. Because the mouth starts here, what I need to do is go here on this layer and just lasso the mouth so that it's effectively erased. So if I solo this layer, you can see what happens is on the cell where the mouth starts talking on another layer, we've got to turn the mouth off, obviously. Hide it. So a silly thing to have to do. Oh, come. To marry into royalty? This I don't like. So I'm going to go to the mouth layer. So I'm right mouse clicking because I need to train that. Get that in my head. Doggone it. Excuse me. Must have swallowed my spit wrong or something. Man, that was nasty, nasty. Okay. Royalty. Okay. Now, this shot, let me look at this. This shot actually extends through a jump cut to a close-up. So she says, oh, come to marry into royalty. Okay, and then she said, father never would have. So yeah, we're jumping way into a different thing. So I'm going to say this looks to be roughly 7 seconds. So let's be bold. We'll call it 80. We'll give it 10 seconds. And then I'm going to render this so it cuts into the show so it doesn't look stupid like what we just saw a moment ago. And this is 315. Yes, 315, and we're going to render. I'm going to put this on the other screen so I can see it a little sharper. Yeah. Frankly, the dialogues in Krita do have fairly tiny type. Okay. And then, of course, Tony Scott committed suicide, and that was the end of the work with Denzel and Tony Scott and Harry Gregson Williams. I believe you are the only person who ever knows to announce something that is a cognitive disorder live on a stream. What's the cognitive disorder? Agreed. And they make you think, which is always a good thing. Yeah. I work in accessibility, and it's hard for people to announce a disability unless it's visible. That means you're comfortable in your skin. Wait, what's the cognitive disorder? I'm assuming it's my cognitive disorder, and I'm sure you're correct, but I'm just curious, what is it? Oh, seriously? They count dyslexia as a cognitive disorder? Oh, brother. That's funny. I don't think of it as a cognitive. I've never been diagnosed either. But I tend to flip some things, and my daughter, who's 30, doesn't know left from right. She can't do it. So that's funny. I don't mind. It's just that every once in a while I have that, what I call a dyslexia moment, because I have to really stop cutting to the, we're going to be cutting to the close-up, and so this should have rendered in. Okay, it didn't. So I must have never rendered it. I got blabbing because the dyslexia thing made me laugh, so sorry about that, guys. 315, is that right? Yes, it's 315. It says they're all, oh, I know what the problem is. Okay, sorry. My bad. We dyslexic people are extremely creative. That's a known thing, or at least it's a suspected thing. I've heard that, and I heard this from Stephen J. Cannell. It's per second thing. Okay, so this needs to be cut. This needs to be cut. But yeah, at this point in my life, I am pretty comfortable in my own skin. I think live streaming's helped me, actually. Failing publicly like I did the other day, 2 days ago, is really good for you. Okay, and really this should jump cut about here. Boom, boom. So we'll split this, and the second half of it, we'll just crop it in. Like so. Oh. Wow. Well, they say that about left-handed people, too, actually. A lot of really creative people are left-handed. Right. Absolutely. That's good stuff. Okay, so she says, it's a tremendous opportunity for you and our family. Okay. So what I'm going to do is she's going to say, it's a tremendous opportunity for you and our family. And then right around here, oh, she's not in the right orientation. So I'm going to have to fix her eyebrows. That's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to suffer some more for no good reason, but so we'll say it. I'll use that for it's a. We'll use that for 2. So I'm going to be a little looser here with it and just see how it goes. Okay, we want a little bit of change there. So I'll just smack a second one in there to see what happens. Come on. That came late. Wow. Okay. I guess we really want to keep these together. She's talking fast. T. For. Oh, come on, Krita, really? Really? That's what we're going to do today? Is that really what we're going to do today? Don't be a silly Krita. See? I'm really going to smack these together fast. And Yep, I'm doing it. I'm smacking all these together. Okay, I don't mind that. Usually I wouldn't like that. Really expensive. I'm $1,000 a day kind of guy. What do you mean by soundstage work, Soda Pop? What is that? Sorry, we just reconnected. What do you mean by soundstage work? Save. Go. I have 5 Kritas. Okay. I'm just making sure that we're all on the same page here, that we all understand that Krita is the name of the software we're using, right? We all get that, right? We do. I think we do. So yeah, Soda Pop. What do you mean by soundstage work? I don't know what you mean. You mean just like voice work? Hey, I'm always down with doing voice work. Voice work's fun. Oh, come. To marry to royalty? It's a tremendous opportunity for you and our family. Okay. Might work, might not work. Oh, sound engineering? Maybe. I've done a lot of that over the years, that's for sure. If you want to hear me, you want to hear me sing? If you want to hear me sing, I'll tell you where you can go to hear me sing. You're not going to believe it. You're going to say, oh my God, the guy can sing too. If you want to hear me sing, go here. Jingles.us, home of the $5,999 jingle. It was. It was. I had forgotten about this. It was $5.99. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm busy. I don't want to get any calls, so I just added a 9 to the end of the price. I'm not joking. But yeah, if you want to hear what I sound like when I sing, because most of these jingles, not all of them, probably about 2/3 of them are all my voice. Like I did all the voices. Jingles.us, home of the $5,999 jingle. Oh my gosh. Kyle's in the background just busting up laughing. No, it's true. It's like I don't want anybody calling me wanting me to do a radio jingle, so I'm just going to multiply the price by 10. And then if somebody really wants to pay that, okay, I'll do it. Oh, that kills me. I had forgotten all about that. Guess I'm too busy working on this cartoon. All right. I don't know if I rendered that because I've gotten too silly here, so I better render just to be safe. And then we'll jump back to Vegas and see what we got. Jingles. I've done jingles for years. Years and years. I'm always singing. When I'm down in the basement pumping iron, I'll always crank up the music and sing along. It's a tremendous opportunity for you and our family. Okay. This jump cut's not quite tight enough. Oh, that's funny. I'm going to be laughing about that jingle thing for a while. I just had completely forgotten that I did that. Just too busy. Just too busy. Got too much to do. Okay. I'm making sure that she's... So this is actually a good example of lit up. Right? Nobody's going to be saying, what did you do scaling it up? You can't crop it in that far. Everything's got to be 4K. No. No. Not true. Not true. In the real world, we can do whatever we want. Every one of my films, I actually edited at broadcast HD and then scaled it up, and the distributors never knew. I never told them. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, come. To marry into royalty? It's a tremendous opportunity for you and our family. Okay, so I think what I'll do, by the way, just to be accurate, I think what I'm actually going to do on this is probably cut back to Tianara. So while she's talking, so we're not really camped out on that scaled shot very long. I really think a reaction shot would be good here. I'm just feeling like we're seeing her for too long on the screen, and she's just not that fun to look at. Right? Yeah, the Eye of the Tiger. I used to sing songs like that when I was gigging in a band. They always I was one of the few people in Fort Wayne, Indiana that could sing Journey convincingly. Well, I was told there were basically two, and I was one of them. We used to do Any Way You Want It, and we used to do Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin'. Great song. You wouldn't think someone with a deep voice like mine would be able to hit the high notes. No. Well, listen to the jingle demo. Listen to the jingle demo. The last jingle on the demo is a jingle for our radio station, all hit music. Yesterday and today, WLKG, I think is what it was. And, yeah, literally, it's like 12 different tracks of me singing, and there's some seriously high notes in there, baby. High notes. High notes, you gotta hit the high notes. But yeah, I do Eye of the Tiger. That's a little bit on the high side. And frankly, Dave Bickler couldn't do it either. He actually, that's why Jameson joined Survivor, is because Dave Bickler. You can import audio, so you're not going to be able to record audio directly into Krita, but you could record it some other way with, if you're looking for open source software, usually Audacity is the program people tend to point to, and then just bring it into. But yeah, Krita will allow you to bring in the audio in order to do lip sync and, to a degree, sync up your soundtrack. So that's right here, I believe, on the timeline. No, it's right here. Audio. Open audio is stand up. I mean, stand up's pretty risky. I'd be a little nervous about doing stand up, I think. Unless I had kind of a plan. If I had a plan and I really cut loose, then it would be a lot like it would probably be a lot like Robin Williams, actually, just really unhinged and silly with a lot of voices and stuff. He used to. I was never a huge fan of Robin Williams, actually, but I do admire his ability to just make stuff up on the spot. That's for sure. Overvoice the Audacity, you say? Yeah, now that's an interesting. And you know, Amar, you're a little frisky today, aren't you? You got some sort of jokish things going. Improv acting in college. Well, yeah, the key to improv, what they say with improv is, if you want to practice improv, get together with your friend and have your friend say something completely absurd and ridiculous, and what you have to say in response to that is, yes, and then you have to continue and add something to it, and then your friend has to say yes and continue it. You have to always go with it by saying yes and blah, blah, blah. And that is a technique used in improv theater to train improvisation at times. So anyway, okay, so I've been streaming for 2:38, and I streamed for 4 hours this morning, more than 4 hours, 4.5. So that's 5, 6, 7. So I have streamed. People, I kid you not, I have streamed for 7 hours today. 7 hours.
Why, it's utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. No, it's not. It's not. Quit picking on me. Picking on me.
Don't show me your teeth like that. That you put those teeth back in your head. I don't know. I don't know if doing the improv thing would actually be that fun for me. It might be fun to try. I have other things on my mind. I wouldn't want to do it unless I felt like I could kind of sort of do it good, you know? Do it well, I should say. Well, you can do it good too, you know. If you could do it well, you could do it good, right? Right? Everybody knows that. You like the old man voice I do, huh? Well, I like the old man too. And you know the funny thing about it is, you can't do the voice without acting like the old man. You sort of crump up here, little tiny ball. Oh, it's lots of fun. All kinds of fun. Isn't that right, Zuko? How you doing over there, champ? I gotta turn your light on, buddy. Yep, you gotta turn on the lamp. Every night it comes time to turn on the lamp. Why, let's see here. I'm going to go back and kind of scan over this thing, kind of see what we got. See if we got something here we could use. Well, we are hoping. You know, I should have been a politician. You know, you talk like me, you could be a politician. That's what you could do. You could. You really could. If you wanted to. Of course, I don't want to. I want to make cartoons. That's what I want to do. All right. Okay, so I think it's probably time to... What time is it anyway? 5:18. I do need to attend to Zuko and get his light turned on. And I don't think I have the gas. I don't think I have the gas to, like, start a whole nother shot. That's the main thing I'm thinking here. Now she's... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is going to be easy. Okay, so just so you guys know, I'll clue you in here what's going to happen. All right, we get to this shot. I think that probably... Let me see if this works. Let me just do this right now. Take this and this. Okay, so I'm going to open this up in the trimmer. Boom. Let's open this baby up in the trimmer. And I'm going to say... her mother says, so we're going to steal some content here from another shot. I'm going to grab that. Let me just smack that over top just to see what happens. And I'm going to actually stretch it out a bit. Yes, properties. We need to disable resampling. Okay. Probably take take that and then see how far we can go with this. Okay, let's just see how that plays. Okay, she says, oh, come. Now it's a royalty. And I like that when she says royalty. To marry into royalty right there for it to pop onto her and she blinks like that and then it cuts back to the mother. That's perfect. That's perfect editing right there. Dude. All right, I got to hit Control L. I'm back in the zone, man. Said I was going to quit and I'm back in the zone. I'm putting that in there. Boom. And then here's the thing. She's got this expression. She says father never would have. She kind of mumbles this. Tianara, you're dishonoring his memory. Okay, so all right, so I'm going to look back here. It's so funny. Oh, no, Mickey. Come on, no, Mickey. Come on. Amar, you keep saying stuff that I don't know what the heck you're saying. Oh, no, Mickey. Come on, no, Mickey. Aha. What is that? I don't know. That's a pop cultural reference. Oh, that's Rocky. Oh, sorry. Sorry, dude. Yeah, I think a minute ago I was kind of doing, I was kind of doing that kind of thing. Whatever, Stallone, I understand what you said, but memorable. I try not to drink soda while I watch you live. Almost flooded my keyboard. Now that is a compliment. Thank you. That is a true compliment. I appreciate that. Hit me with your best shot. All right. I like the way, because I slowed it down, the eye blink actually, I'm going to stretch her out just a skosh more too. Yeah, dishonors memory. And then what I'm going to do is I want to go up here, and I believe it was... Okay, so we're going to be able to cheat in a big way. What we're going to do is I'm not going to put it in the show. I'm just going to copy it down here. But if you look at her attitude here, she says, she's like, father never would have. And then, of course, her mother interrupts her. Now, you look at this acting from the other shot. Father never would have. Now, if her lips were moving, we'd have our shot done. It'd work great. So let's go back and see if I'm right, because one thing we want to be cognizant of is whether we've introduced too much repetition. So far, it's never happened. And I've done it in movies too, where I've actually used the exact same shot in two different places, not too far apart, and nobody ever even notices. As long as the story is propelling you through, it's not a big deal. And plus, remember, on the second go-round here, we're going to add the lip sync where she says her line. So let's just see how this is flowing. Married? I may get rid of the turning around there. Feels like it goes on a bit long to me. No. Well, I got caught up in her acting, and I think I probably added too much. So we'll probably chop this down a little bit. Papa never would have. Okay, yeah, so that's what we'll do. This is okay, but I, honestly, like I said, I baked so much emotional activity into these two shots that I actually have plenty of room to cut things out. This is so cool because there's just a litany of emotions in this acting, to where you could cut this apart and rearrange it, and the emotion would feel just a little bit different. It would be really, you'd be amazed how much you could cut this thing up into pieces, run some of it backwards, and just, it's just a mishmash of emotion. Very useful, very utilitarian shot, actually. I'm glad I did it. You know, all this stuff is just really awesome. You know, excuse me. You can accomplish a lot with people's shoulders. You know, how their head relates to their shoulders. Et cetera, et cetera. So, sorry to make you flood your keyboard there, Soda Pop. All right. So with that, I think since we know what we're going to do on shot number 316, I guess we probably should just do it. What time is it? All right, 2:47. So I've got 12 minutes to do this. So I'm going to open up 314 and save it immediately as 316. In fact, I'm not even going to do that. You know what I'm going to do? I am actually going to cheat in the biggest, most wicked cheating way possible. Watch this. I'm going to, do we want to save this? Let's save this. And now we're going to, we're waiting for it to save. About 12 minutes. Hope some of that humor makes it in the animation. Oh, indeed. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some comedy in the show. All right, so we want to do HD. We do not want to create from clipboard. You silly, silly goose. All right, and now what we want to do is we want to go File, Import Animation Frames. And I'm going to add images. And it would be better if I could kind of see them. So let's just see. I'm trying to work really fast here. I'm trying to set some records, some land speed record. So I'm going to go 314. I want to go to 314. Here it is. Here's the sequence. But now, before I go too much further, I'm going to go back here and go to 314 and see where this starts. What I want here. I could figure it out in Vegas if I change. I got to put this on the other screen so it's a little easier to see. It's around the 6-second point. What's 6 times 8? 48? Okay. Alright. So my guess is that probably 48, 2.11. So I need from roughly 48 plus about 20. So let's go 48 to however far we got to go. Alright. Let's give it a crack and see if I get lucky. So I'm going down here to 48. Boom. And then I'm going to grab everything to the end. Boom. Let's bring them in. Let's see if I got lucky. Yep. Okay, so this has to play at 8 frames a second. And she says, yeah, 1 frame a second? I don't think so. Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now how are we going to fix this? Let's go back here. This is going to be 315. So file, save as. Actually, let's file, save as, and we'll go boom 315. Sorry, 315.ping. Why do we have a 315.ping.cra? That's weird. I want to check that real quick. File, open. I don't know. I might be missing something here. Somebody just made a comment. Maybe that. Okay, 315 is the mom. Okay. What did I do wrong here? Good thing I'm paying attention. This is 316. We're going from 314 to 316. Okay. Thank you. Tiptoe through the tulip. I don't think I can go as high as Tiny Tim in a falsetto. Where I'll be, come tiptoe through the tulips with me. Alright, file, save as. So this is going to be 316. Boom. 316. Yep, 316.ping. And we want to also save it as a CRA, which we do. Boom, done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a paint layer. Okay, now we got a little bit of risk here. Okay, here's the problem. The mouth is all on the same layer, so we're going to, and there's a gradient on her skin, so that means we've got a bit of a problem. We're going to have to grab the mouth color, and we're going to have to just animate through this and just make it work. And I'm going to change it from father to papa, okay? Pa. Oops, we want the G key. Pa. Whoops, I need to do this in reverse. Papa. I guess let's just insert a key. Nah. Okay, that's not working. And we got a little bit of a problem there with the gradient's really going to give us grief. But we can kind of sort of make it work. Tell you what. Okay, that first key doesn't work. Let's just get rid of it. Okay. Okay, this is the one that's going to be tricky. Unfortunately, because of the gradient, it's just something I got to compensate for. It's just that's okay. Actually, I can live with that. Okay. Okay, and that's too slow. A. Whoops. Boy, she's really wanting to talk fast. Okay, here. Insert. Okay. Papa never would have. There we go. We're done. We're done. That's it. I'm done. I didn't do Nixon. Darren did the Nixon himself. Yeah, the thing about Tiny Tim was the vibrato. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for, speaking up, Darren. Didn't know you were still here. Papa never would have. Okay, that's it, guys. We're done. That's it. I did it. This is going to be 316. I'm saving this. Rendering it. I can't believe it was so quick. Let's do like 48 frames, I think. This is going to be 316. 316. So tell all your friends to subscribe to Blended Planet, because Blended Planet's where we have all kinds of fun and nothing but fun 24/7. Except when we don't. Alright, so let's get rid of that. Slide this baby down. Okay, I guess we need the looping or the ripple editing turned on. So we'll go here. Yeah, we want to have more people at the view. I'm back. OBS is being stupid. I told you I had 12 minutes to do this shot, and looky. Boom, baby. It's done. So, to royalty. Why, it's a tremendous opportunity for you and our family. Papa never would have. There you go. There you go. Just returned. My potatoes are roasting. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting ready to sign off, Maria. I am now, I'm at 2:57 on this live stream. And it has been a lot of fun today. I appreciate you guys all hanging out. It makes doing the work more fun. It really does. As long as I don't get too goofy and start chimping on the work and doing a sloppy job, which is really what I started to do a couple days ago when I had a scene that went badly south. It was this scene. When I redid it, I'm completely happy with it. I think it came out great, but the first version of this was just terrible. Terrible shot. But I'm loving this stuff with Tianara. She's so pretty. So pretty. So sweet. And her mother is, by contrast, a little rougher. Dirt. Sometimes you need to cut loose to get back in the groove. You do. Yeah, as Zach Brannigan would say. You gotta cut loose to get back in the groove.
No, sir, I don't think so.
Love Zach Brannigan. Okay, guys, that's it. I am signing off in, well, a few seconds. And so I would say again, thanks guys for coming and hang around. I'll try to give you more warning next time. I haven't been giving a lot of warning, but I'll try to plan ahead just a little better. And thanks, Darren, and we'll see you guys. As you know, there will be more later.